Hi, I'm going to be talking about how to make a low poly bow for Godot. A low poly bow for Godot. That's what this video is going to vlog about. This is what the vlog's going to be. I totally messed up how to rig this thing, so at the end of the video you'll see a link to an actual real tutorial on how to rig a low poly bow, and you can check that out because I got this whole modeling thing from another video tutorial, but they don't have Godot in their series, so that's what this vlog is going to kind of talk about. As you can see here, I'm kind of doing my best just to marrow both sides. I'm using Blender to do it. It's pretty easy. As you can see, I just kind of try to go with an asymmetrical shape. When I'm designing this bow as an original design, I'm trying to consider like what it's going to look like when it torques, like when you actually pull the bow, so forth and so on. At this point too, I didn't put a string. We tried to use math, and you're going to see that in the later videos on how we actually use math for projectiles, but we tried to use a vector math to try to create the bowstring. It was an absolute fail, and that's kind of what these vlogs are still about, us failing and making stuff. So there it is in Godot. I'm trying to get it into the engine. I'm using ducks because they're really easy to animate. I should do a video somewhere about how to make that duck, but I have to change some things for the class. And that's the other thing too, is that most of these things, it's related to classes. So this bow is going for a class that I teach online. We're always looking for students. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If you're interested in classes, like with a teacher, comment below or contact me somehow. So there you go. I'm going into the materials property. It's pretty easy to set up visually. I just tried to go black originally. The bow, as you can tell upon export, is way too big, so it needs to be scaled down in Blender, but I just said, hey, I'm gonna try it anyway. The other thing too is when you be careful in how you scale these things. As you can see, I'm using rigid body, so the proportion how you scale can actually offset your physics. So I've been told, really be careful on how you scale things down because it can mess with the physics within the Godot engine. So there it is. It is what it is. Anyway, I just want to see what it looks like, even though it's rigid body within the animation. Oh, here I'm actually putting in the collision shapes. I got this from Alex. He said, I don't have to make perfect meshes of collision shapes. It's better to just have, like more simplified structures to create kind of barriers, because it's easier on the processor. You'll note too that I'm glTF2. I'm usually glTF2 because glTF2 just runs on more stuff. It runs on the internet. So I kind of go with the glTF2, not glTF3. I'm waiting for Vulkan or better renderers are coming Godot 4. So there you go. I'm just seeing how the bow looks. It looks terrible, obviously. It's way too small. I try to increase the size here in Godot, but again, it's just a nightmare, just a mess. So I have to go back and I have to tweak and edit the bow in Blender. And then when I finally edit it, I'm just messing around with values, extending here and there. I realize that thickening is one thing, but I'm actually gonna have to design a better bow. So I start, thinking again about how the torque is actually gonna work and how it's gonna pull. And I just mess around with a lot of stuff. So again, I kind of trying to over design it. And the other factor too, when you consider designing assets, is you have to realize that no one's going to see all the details. There's, diminishing returns. I kind of get this from my comic days, back when I was making comics, is that, if you do these really killer details, but no one sees it, it doesn't really matter. This is another thing too, just design-wise. Again, this is like for a 2.5D game, if you didn't realize. But what's cool about making it in 2.5D is that you can actually put it into 3D. So right here, I am kind of considering like actual bow anatomy. I did research some bow anatomy, like how do bows work, just for animation too. So the reference is kind of good to know where the bow is going to set, so forth and so on. The character is basically 2D, so there's going to be a mix between 2D and 3D. So I don't have to worry too much about animations. So there you go. I re-import the bow. Then I just do the same process again, is that after I guess I fixed it a little bit more. After I re-import it, I'm just gonna start messing with the boxes. The other thing I start doing here is I start designing for light, or better yet design, And what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to think about what colors. I try to keep it to 2 colors, black, and then I try to have the yellow part just highlight where there's different spaces, so forth and so on. For this game, I don't want there, or for this class, I don't want there to be a lot of emphasis on shadowing. So I'm going to try to do things like where it's going to be textures not affected by shadow, which should create like neon effects. And I do like that neon. Love me that cyberpunk looking stuff. So there you go. It makes more of a neonish bow. As you can see, that it's a lot better than just pure black. And since the bow is now multiple colors or different colors, it stands out better. And then I just test it to see if it's actually working in the engine. Again, what the idea with this design is that it will be a rigid body, but then the players can pick up the bow, and then when they pick up the bow, the bow disappears. I'm still sorting all that out. So yeah, I hope this looks awesome. I'm going to put the other videos in. They're going to be longer, but they will show everything from code to GitHub, so forth and so on. And the other thing is that no, I'm probably not going to release the tutorial or the project on Git anytime soon. I'm still talking to Alex about that. So, stay tuned. Hopefully you check out part 2, 3, and 4. And yeah, give me comments on if this helps in any way. All right. Hope you enjoyed the vlog. Catch you in the next one. Bye.